you say you want to hear about the classical literary period? I mean, got some time on my hands and nothing much better to do, so I guess I can do that. I mean, where do I start? I guess around 1000 BC, during the start of the ancient Greek civilization. I mean, you had authors like Plato and Aristotle and Sophocles, who would all contribute to ideas of philosophy, morals, ethics, and also the start of writing scientific and political treatises, and essentially, creating the roots, many of the roots that our modern life is based off of. But, all these guys often wrote about imaginary animals like Aristotle's The Turtle and the Hare. You've also got the Iliad and the Odyssey, which shows sort of the epic side of literature. I mean, with Iliad and the Odyssey, like one of the most famous epics or literary works ever came from this period. But like all good things, the Greek civilization had to come to an end, and that's where we're brought to the Roman side of things. And when the Romans took over, I mean, they just continued the tradition. They kept writing and creating treatise after treatise, discussing philosophy after philosophy. They've even become the prominence of rhetoric-based writing. And some of the authors, if I can remember from that time, would I guess be Virgil and Marcus Aurelius and Horace, I think. Latin names are always a little strange, but they're not as bad as the Greeks. That's one good thing that came from their conquerage. But besides that, like all good things again, even Rome came to an end. And with that came the prevalence of Christian writings during the classical literary period, perpetrated mainly by authors like St. Augustine, whom, us Florida residents have a cool town named after him, and St. Jerome, who is most famous probably for compiling the Bible, the holy text that billions of people around the world used from day to day. And these writings, once again, continued the epics, the storytelling, the philosophy, and the ethic that was so common even in ancient times. So, thanks for that question. Guess I'll be going now.
The medieval period, ranging from the 5th to the 15th century, greatly influenced literary works by shifting from oral storytelling to written works. During this time, feudalism and the spread of Christianity shaped many stories. Narratives like Beowulf celebrated heroes, while Dante's Divine Comedy explored spiritual themes. The rise of vernacular languages allowed for more people to access literature, leading to popular works like Chaucer's The Canterbury Tales. This period set the stage for the Renaissance and enriched the literary culture of Europe.
The Renaissance is considered the cultural, artistic, political, and economic rebirth of Europe. It began in Italy in the 14th century and reached its height in the 1490s through the 1520s. It ended in Italy with the fall of Rome in 1527. The Renaissance was a time period when people rediscovered classical art, literature, and philosophy. It was also a time of great scientific discovery and invention and global exploration. Some of the most famous writers are Dante Alighieri, William Shakespeare, and John Milton.
The Enlightenment period, aka the Neoclassical period, was a time when the influence of classical literature and the ideas of the Enlightenment movement increased. The term neoclassical refers to the increased influence of classical literature and art on the culture of time. Neoclassical writers tried to imitate the style of the ancient Greeks and Romans. This European intellectual movement emphasized logic and reason and was marked by a questioning of religious orthodoxy. The Enlightenment's central doctrines were individual liberty and religious tolerance. Some popular authors from this time are Montesquieu, Locke and Jeremy Bentham in England, Thomas Paine and Thomas Jefferson, Cesare Beccaria, David Hume, Immanuel Kant, Lord Mountbatten, and Adam Smith.
The Romantic era in literature spanning the late 18th to mid-19th century emphasized emotion, nature, and individualism as a reaction to the Industrial Revolution and the Enlightenment. Prominent authors like William Wordsworth and Samuel Taylor Coleridge celebrated the sublime beauty of nature and human intuition, as seen in their collection Lyrical Ballads. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein explored themes of human ambition and isolation, blending romantic ideals with Gothic elements. The Victorian era in literature, lasting from the mid to late 19th century, was marked by a focus on social issues, morality, and the effects of industrialization. Authors like Charles Dickens explored the struggles of the working class in novels such as Hard Times and Great Expectations, highlighting social inequality. Charlotte Bronte, Jane Eyre delved into themes of gender roles, independence, and personality integrity.
The modern period of literature encompassed the years 1914 through 1945. The literature during this period captured the estrangement between man and nature, man and society, man and man and himself. This time also included the emergence of the Lost Generation, a group of writers who experienced the hardships of World War I and the Great Depression. Among these writers were Ernest Hemingway, known for his seemingly simplistic writing style with greater meaning and symbolism, and Gertrude Stein, whose style of writing mimics a person's natural thoughts. The postmodern period of literature began in 1945 and includes present works. This current period is characterized by metafiction, a style of writing in which the protagonist is aware they are in a fictional work. Multiculturalism in the late 20th century led to an increase in diverse writing styles. Some well-known works from the postmodern period include T.S. Eliot's Prufrock and Other Observations, which mainly emphasized the disorder of modern society, and Langston Hughes's The First Book of Jazz, which illustrates the growth of jazz music.